Used very, very, in a very wise way and very good way. The question that was raised was, where in the Torah does it say it's prohibited to write? And based on what do we find this prohibition? First of all, let me respond in saying, as far as what I have searched into and did my research, there's no Torah commandment that you're not allowed to write on Shabbat. However, the derivation of not writing on Shabbat, whether writing, erasing, gluing, or even painting on Shabbat, is derived from the following concepts. Is derived from the concept based on Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 12. And 6 days you may labor and do all your work, and on the seventh day is Shabbat for the Almighty. You shall not do any work. Within this idea of work, melachah, is where it is derived that writing, since it's part of the normal workday activities, that would be considered as a prohibition to do on Shabbat. There are many principles and fundamentals of Jewish faith which are included in the concept of Shabbat. Shabbat commemorates the creation in the Exodus from Egypt. It also considered a foretaste to the world to come, as Shabbat hymn very beautifully says, Me'eno Olam Haba. The tranquility and sanctity of Shabbat is a Jewish opportunity to rise above the ordinary atmosphere of the 6-day work week, to reach new levels. But there are some characters of Shabbat which, to respond to your question, includes that of not writing, from observing its mitzvahs and avoiding its prohibited activity, conducting oneself in accordance with the sanctity of the day. By desecrating any of the prohibitions, one divests himself of the exalted ideas and lofty concept which characterizes Shabbat. The command to build a tabernacle in the Sinai, as we read in Shemot 31, 1 through 11, was altogether with warning not to violate Shabbat. In the Parsha, or Pashiot Vayachel, in Shemot 35, 1 through 3, the warning not to transgress Shabbat also appears together with the building of the tabernacle. And we derive two halachas from this point. It was prohibited to build a tabernacle on Shabbat, and any work done in connection with the tabernacle was not done on Shabbat. And therefore, we have 39 labors which were done in connection with the construction of the tabernacle, which today are considered principal areas of work, which are in categories with the work that is not allowed or permitted to do. And of course, then we have subdivided principles or activities which are included in these 39 derivatives, as it were. And so to answer your question is that writing in particular is not necessarily, you're going to find it in the written Torah. However, in the Tanakh, the prophet Yeshayahu does make mention of Jews of his time, that they were writing contracts and they were making negotiations of contracts in which was specifically something that was prohibited on Shabbat because it had to do with work or work agreements. So on Shabbat in particular, there is a reference in the Tanakh and the prophet Isaiah that makes reference to that of doing contracts, doing business deals on Shabbat. So hopefully this has answered your question. And like I said, I'm open to any questions that are out there regarding Shabbat keeping. But technically speaking, there is no specific mention, thou shalt not write on Shabbat. It's all derived, by and large, or inferences from, as I just mentioned, from the words of the prophet, or from the construction that we learned from the construction or the building of the tabernacle, which was not done during Shabbat. So hopefully that answered your question. Shalom Aleichem.